the header as Jota is penalised for a high boot, and I think he well recognises that he maybe shouldn't have gone for that one as Mount went for it with his head. But this game instantly goes from back to 4 in absolutely no time, and we've had 4 goals from 5 shots, is it?
I think so. I'm going to try and find some stats, but I don't think we've had
it's whether
that many more.
Whether that header from the original, the second Birmingham goal that Morrison knocked in, the header from the edge of the box counted as a shot. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Well, they've got 9 attempts on the stats here. In terms of on target, we've only had 5 shots on target, so not bad. Not bad return for 5 shots on target to have 4 goals so far. And both managers will be disappointed with the defending from their teams for some of the goals today. As he said, Birmingham just switched off for that goal, not only for giving Cole cross time and space to cross, but also for Keogh at the far post.
There's Lawrence on the edge of the box into Mount. Mount fizzes it into the box, and I don't think Cole was quite ready for that one. No, sorry, it wasn't Cole. It was Mount, I think, at the edge of the box, and then Shea Adams flicks it past Tamori. He's got a man free on the left hand side as Keogh goes cross to cover him, and Jutkovic with the shot at goal. Left-footed strike along the ground, just goes past the right hand post.
Great break, great work from Adams. So strong, just to hold off the challenge there initially of Bradley Johnson. Then, as you say, pokes it past Tamori and he's in, but he hasn't got the pace to outstrip Tamori. Does the sensible thing, plays it across the face of goal. Jutkovic not the quickest either, so decides he's got to take the strike on first time and tries to place it in the bottom corner. Just gets his angles wrong, but that was a great chance for Derby. But Adams, really impressing yet again this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to say, the sun has come out. Everyone seeing this as the first sort of action of summer football on the Easter weekend on Good Friday, and football has come alive in this week, really. And we've already seen 4 goals in less than 30 minutes here, and I'm sure the action will keep coming through this match as the Derby players lose the ball on the far right hand side, and it goes out for a throw-in as we see a replay of Richard Keogh. He's just chatting to Lukas Jutkovic, just saying we're both on the score sheet now. So see more pictures of Frank Lampard. He never looks too happy on the sideline, especially, you would have thought, because his team have conceded 2 once again away from home. Yeah,
just can't shut up shop away from home, can they? I read a stat before today that they've only picked up 3 points away from home since the start of 2019, and it's not really good enough for a side looking to be in the playoffs, and they've lost at places where you would have expected them to get more from. Just thinking of Blackburn, who've got nothing to play for in this division, beaten 2-0 quite comfortably on that occasion, and at the back they've got some big questions to answer.
Running down the right hand side is Jutkovic, lays it off to Jota. Will probably look to cut in on his stronger left foot. He does that, he then fakes to shoot, he then does check a strike at goal, but good defending from Cole is able to deflect that one away, and then stabbed away. Surely a shoulder choke. Free kick given, yes, it has been given in the favour of Tom Lawrence. Gary Gardner giving that one away. But just to go back to it, if you took the whole division and just took the last 8 away games for every single side, Derby would be 18th.
Yeah, they would. It's a shocking statistic, isn't it, really? They've been to Blackburn, they've been to Ipswich, they've had some tougher away games. They've got thumped at Aston Villa and at Nottingham Forest as well, so those are games that they've been disappointed to have been completely outmatched in, and I think they play 2 more times away from home before the end of the season, so something they could desperately do with putting a stop to now that they've come into a crunch period. And
sometimes you do just get a mental block. Sometimes you see something, you think, we can't win away from home, but as soon as you then do win away from home, then the form can completely switch, and that's exactly what Derby want to do, pushing for this final playoff spot with the final 4 games of the season left after this one. So throw-in by Derby, flicked on by Jutkovic, and then running into the box is his strike partner. He goes down under a challenge from Tamori, but nothing given as the ball goes away to Kel Roos. In fact, I think a free kick may have even been given to Derby. Shea Adams had his arm all over Tamori, pulling his shirt. I'm surprised the shirt didn't rip, to be honest.
Yeah, he's certainly got a handful of Tamori, and he has been a handful, hasn't he, for Tamori today. He's been difficult for the man on loan from Chelsea. He's not been helped out by Keogh there. He does really well to recover the situation, but just don't look comfortable at the back, Derby. A collection of individuals rather than a unit at the minute. Yeah,
that pass was really poor from Keogh. If Jota had just a bit more pace, he would have easily got there before Tamori, but Tamori with a lot of pace and jumped into the sliding tackle, was able to win it as Derby then give a free kick away in the middle. I think finally we've seen Magoma going for something, and he wins the free kick against Craig Bryson. Craig Bryson not happy with the decision and has a word with the referee Simon Hooper, and another man not happy still is Frank Lampard. He really is concerned. He keeps pacing up and down this sideline. The Derby goalkeeper Lee Camp, I think, has come all the way up from the back to take this free kick. It's only just inside the Birmingham half, so many of the men have gone up from the back. Mason Mount looks to me as if he's marking Jutkovic, which could be a problem for Derby, but the free kick is really poor. Just goes straight into the arms of Roos as he's looking for an outlet now to play it quick, and there's nothing really going, so he waits a few seconds, then kicks it long down the right hand side. Harry Wilson trying to battle but headed away easily down that far side by Pedersen. Now running down the left hand side is Magoma. Magoma then gets stood up by Bogle, and Magoma's not happy with that one. He flicked it past the Derby right back. It was a case of, it was kind of a coming together, but Bogle knew what he was doing, but Magoma also knew what he was doing, trying to run into it.
I was just about to say the same thing. I think Mahoma knows exactly what he's doing there in terms of he's trying to win the free kick on the far side. Maybe feels that doesn't have the beating of Bogle for pace, and I think he's played for it, and the referee is wise to it. And yes, credit to Simon Hooper for spotting that. Wasn't really trying to get down that far side. As you say, there's been nothing coming from that far side for either team so far. And it's back to that familiar pattern of play of Derby having lots of possession at the back, but eventually lumping it forward in the hope somebody can win it.
They do lump it forward down the right hand side, and Waghorn this time wins it really well against the number 12 Dean. He lays it off to Wilson. Wilson looking to try and play some skill and get in behind. He plays it back then. It's now into the midfield. It goes back towards Waghorn now. Waghorn lifts it in towards the box. There's a man that could take it down. It's taken down. It's a great challenge in the end by Morrison. There was a couple of men in there, Lawrence and Mount, I think it was, for Derby. Neither could really get it under control, but once Lawrence flicked it forward, it's a brilliant tackle by Morrison.
Yeah, fantastic challenge, isn't it, to stop Lawrence from pulling the trigger. He's just waiting to set himself there, Lawrence, and Morrison had to time it, and he did to perfection. Fantastic by the Blues skipper, and then Gardner wins his side a free kick, and Birmingham on the attack again.
Fizzes it long towards the far stick, and Roos does really well to come out and win that one. He jumps above both Keogh and Jutkovic, who are pulling at each other. He gathers it well and catches it straight in two hands. So Derby in possession once again. Tamori into Bryson. Back to Tamori. Keogh then gives it out right hand side towards Bogle, but pretty happy to just sit on the ball and not go too attacking with it. I think they know their own defensive weaknesses. It seems that way anyway, as the ball's then gone into Mount, but he gives it straight back towards Tamori. Cole then looks to go down the line. That's nice into the feet of Lawrence. Lawrence goes to flick it round the corner towards Mount, but I think it was David Davis in the middle. He was able to shield off the young Chelsea loanee as it goes forward then for Birmingham, headed away by Derby. Really poor touch by Johnson, but he's able to win the battle against Magoma. Chip forward, Wilson flicks it off down the right hand side. He's asking for a handball, but it's picked up in the middle by Davis, or is it? No, so it's Pedersen. Gives it down the line towards Magoma. Magoma looking to go one-on-one against Wilson. Wilson trying to show him down the line, but he cuts back on his right foot, fizzed into the box. It's poor, really. And he is easily cleared away, but this time it's now Birmingham with possession, but it's easily given away. In towards Lawrence. Lawrence running forward. It's a tackle in the middle by Gary Gardner, and that one will be a free kick, surely. And maybe even a yellow card for stopping a counter-attack. All the players look to Simon Hooper.
I could have sworn he was going to his pocket there, the referee, but decided against it in the end. Maybe gave himself a bit of time to think about it. I mean, it's the first bad tackle we've seen in the game. I'd say he does have the yellow card in his hand, so he is going to give it. But I just thought for a minute he decided to be lenient with Gardner, despite the fact, as you say, he's clearly stopped Lawrence from getting away from him and launching a counter-attack. And just so many mistakes in this game, which is great from a neutral point of view, but if you're a Monk and Lampard, you'd be tearing your hair out looking at just the individual silly errors.
It's quite often the square passes across midfield and the back that are just either underhit or overhit, and people are just running straight onto it, and it's just leaving players to run forward on the counter-attack like Lawrence then, and they have to go back to that tackle. Gary Gardner got a tiny bit of the ball, a feather, but it's nothing to say that it's not a free kick, because he completely takes Lawrence out. It's now in the middle with Bradley Johnson. Left-footed ball down the line towards Lawrence. Lawrence looks to spin past his man Colin, and he does, but Lawrence is asking for a free kick as he gives the ball away. I think he's asking, saying that Colin had an arm on him, or he was tugging his shirt. It's a good turn by Lawrence, though, showing that he's got the beating of Colin this afternoon, and the ball has been flicked a lot down this near side towards Lawrence's feet, and he's done pretty well so far. It's now at the back for Derby, who are under possession once again. left hand side. Tamori inside then towards Mason Mount. Was under pressure. He's asking for a free kick or something, some sort of action on. I think it was Yotta who put a hand on Mount. No, it was Gary Gardner saying, referee, he's on a yellow card, keep wary of him. Ball goes into Mount once again. Gary Gardner stands him up. Gary Gardner just then ploughs straight through him and pushes him, and Mount asking for another card. You're not going to get a yellow card for that one just after another yellow card, but it was a foul.
Yeah, it was a foul. He needs to keep his cool, doesn't he, Gary Gardner? That was silly, as you said, just absolutely squashed Mount as he tried to get away from him, and just needs to keep a control on his temper. They've been very disciplined, haven't they, when let Derby having the ball in their own half. Quite happy to let them have it there. They're not really going to hurt them, backing themselves to win it when they knock it long, and so just need to keep that discipline and that game plan that Monk has put into place.
It was almost a case of the opening 25 minutes the Birmingham players sat in a 4-4-2 and didn't really press too much unless it got to one of the front or wide men. It now seems as soon as the ball goes into Bryson Johnson or Mount, they jump straight on that player because they're seeing the weakness and the mistakes that are coming from that midfield so far, as Tamori looks to bypass the midfield and spray it to the right hand side. It's not long, it's straight to a Birmingham man in Pedersen, who headers out, and it's now at the feet of Morrison. Turns back pretty dangerously against Waghorn, but gets the ball to Lee Camp, who Lee Camp's clearance is really poor as he just hooks it straight out of play. He's a very experienced goalkeeper, Lee Camp, but he has had a couple of mistakes already, whether they're minor ones like that goal kick or the coming out from the back for the Waghorn goal. But once again, Derby give the ball away. It's now Shea Adams running down the left hand side. He checks back on his left foot, then goes on his right again, but really good defending by Jaden Bogle to win it back and knock it down the line. Mount's trying to get onto the end of that one, so I know it's Bryson. He does get a touch on it, but it goes out of play for a Derby, a Birmingham throw-in, on that far side, but really good defending from Bogle. Yeah,
you can understand why Premier League clubs were looking at him in the transfer window in January. I've seen him a few times this season. He looks, solid defensive option, and they're up against Adams. Adams is a bigger man, but does well to win it.
Adams once again in the box, turns one way, turns the other, but a good toe in from Tamori as Adams takes a slight stumble. Mount looking to burst the attack forward. He gives it up towards Waghorn, then laid off in midfield towards Wilson. Wilson looking down the left hand side, switches the play, but I think it's just over. It is just over hit, and Lawrence can't quite get on the end of it, but it's clear as soon as Birmingham throw a few men more forward and they give the ball away, Wilson and Mount are trying to bring this Derby team forward quickly.
Yeah, they're trying to hit them quickly, aren't they, because they've got that pace and feel like they can catch them out. But like you said before, we've seen absolutely nothing of Wilson really in this game, carrying the ball forward. I mean, he's capable of moments of magic out of nothing, but not giving him any opportunities so far. Derby, dangerous player who they can't get into the game.
They can't at all. All the players been on the left hand side, and you have to say Pedersen at left back for Birmingham is a lot bigger in stature than Wilson. Wilson may be looking at him and thinking, you're a tough matchup today. But the poor ball goes forward from Birmingham, and it's picked up easily by Roos. Lays it off towards Keogh as West Brom have taken the lead at home against Hull City. Maybe that could end the playoff hopes for Hull City and make it a 3-horse race between Derby, Middlesbrough and Bristol.
Yeah, looks like it might do. I mean, it's an outside chance that Hull will get into the playoffs. It was unlikely, very unlikely at the start of the season, but as it stands, Borough are going up into 6th place, 67 points. Bristol City drop out, and Derby, it's as you were, they're still 3 points off the playoffs right at this moment in time.
They could do with a win here, as it's one in midfield, is it? No, it's not by Bryson, and then a really poor ball forward in midfield by Birmingham. They had both front men running forward against the Derby defence that were looking back at their own goalkeeper, but it was a poor ball, went all the way back towards Roos. So now at the back with Tamori, looks left towards Ashley Cole, once again plays it down the line to the feet of Tom Lawrence. He's under pressure, so fizzes it all the way back to Tamori. Tamori plays a 1-2 and returns it once again to Bradley Johnson. Johnson down the left hand side to Mount. Mount trying to hold off a man in midfield and wins a free kick, and I don't think that Davis knew that the free kick had been given there and tried to go win the ball back through the back of Mount.
Yeah, if he did, it was a good delaying tactic, wasn't it, because it gave him opportunity to get themselves set. We've seen lots of Mount, haven't we? Said he grabbed a hat-trick last week, and it's been spoken of very highly by Chelsea and Chelsea fans. they might get a look at him next season, mightn't they, with this transfer ban? If they fail to overturn it, might find out next week about that. So you might see, if you're a Chelsea fan, more of Mason Mount in a blue shirt next season, which would be interesting.
Absolutely. It's only been recently that Chelsea have moved the midfield around, and the likes of Kovacic on loan spells. If you're trying to bring through the English talent when you've got transfer bans, Mount is certainly someone you should give a chance, but it's poor from Mount as it's given away, and then it's knocked forward up towards Magoma, which slightly overhit. He couldn't quite get on the end of it and run through on goal. He's up one-on-one against Bogle. He goes right, he goes left, he scuffs it really, and then Wilson with a strong challenge is able to kick the ball against him, but it's put back into the box and then cleared by Tomori. Waghorn's not quite in that position to win that one back. He's still charging it down though. It's then played down the right hand side to Colin, then lifted down the line. It's poor though from Birmingham, and Birmingham now it is that can't really string a pass together. They're the ones looking forward and can't do anything. It's knocked down the line to Bryson. Bryson looking inside. It's flicked down the line then towards Lawrence in a sliding challenge. Then comes in from Colin, and we have almost played 45 minutes of this game. We'll see how long is added for out of time. It will be 2 minutes for the first half, so 2 minutes of potential action. Now at the back for Derby into Keogh. And I have to say, the way that this Derby side are going at the minute, it wouldn't surprise me if they'd be fairly happy with getting in at half time, especially they've been down twice 1-0 by 1 goal, and got back into it, try and regroup and then continue this last 10 minutes where they've been dominant. Yeah,
they need to change something, don't they, Derby? So as you say, getting in at 2-2 wouldn't be a bad outcome to a first half in which they haven't defended particularly well, and in going forward has been an issue for them as Wigan have equalised against Leeds.
Really good flick from Waghorn, plays it down the left now is Mason Mount in towards Lawrence. Lawrence into the box, cuts on his right foot, then goes towards his left, lifts it towards back post, deflected. They're asking for a handball. It was only a couple of yards away was the Birmingham defender. I think it was Colin who Lawrence was one-on-one against. And it's one of those, just see the replay now. He cuts back on his left foot. Colin spins his back, he chips it towards the far post. His arm is out and does stop the cross. It's one of those though, it is quite close.
It is very close, isn't it? I think next season when the new rules are brought in about handball, that may well be given as a penalty, because any kind of contact like that stops the direction of the ball will be given as a spot kick. So next season that might well go down as a penalty. This season he's so close, isn't he, that that's probably the mitigating factor in the referee's mind is the distance between the ball and his hand when it's booted at it.
It was clumsy though from Colin as he put his back really to Lawrence and then turned around. It's long, goes forward for Birmingham, not headed down by Jutkovic. Launched clear by Keogh towards Waghorn. Waghorn can't get there first. It's headed out by Morrison. It's a bit of head tennis in midfield now. Headed once again by Bradley Johnson, goes upfield now towards Adams, then Keogh has to settle to head the ball out for a throw in. 15 seconds or so left in this first half as Birmingham are coming forward down the far side. Throw in taken short towards Adams, then into Magoma, back towards Adams, holds it off well, gives it to Pedersen. Pedersen looks to cross, it goes in towards the box. Coming out is Roos. Roos drops the ball, it then goes down and he wins a free kick and almost kicks out there, does he, against Jutkovic as he wins the free kick.
Yeah, not happy. Roos felt he was being manhandled by Jutkovic, but he was just trying to get in for the ball. It maybe is a foul, but I don't think there's a lot in it initially. Then he does sort of pin him to the floor.
One of them, they're both going for the ball. Jutkovic has jumped early and that's why he's got on top of him.
Yeah, and there goes the half-time whistle then. Entertaining first half at St Andrews, finishes Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Jutkovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby were level. Waghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lucas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lucas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lucas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lucas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lucas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lucas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lucas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lucas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lucas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lucas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby twice coming from behind to go in level at the break. Lukas Juktovic scoring after just 2 minutes for Birmingham, tapping in unmarked to the far post. 4 minutes later, Derby will level. Vaghorn lifting the ball over Camp with a fantastic lob, but Birmingham were back ahead on 18 minutes. Morrison tapping in, scruffy goal after Derby had failed to clear their lines from a corner, but Richard Keogh made sure that Derby went in level at the break with a header at the far post. Entertaining first half at St Andrews. Half-time at... Welcome back then for the second half. Just about to get underway with Derby set to kick us off. Me and Matt were just kind of guessing what the score would end up being, but yeah, you can make a case for anything at this moment, the way that the two sides are defended. Not a great start from Derby. Straight from kick-off, they boot the ball out of play for a throw-in to Birmingham City as Gary Monk is back in his technical area. He's clearly not feeling the heat, still got a jumper on over the top of his shirt, despite the fine, warm afternoon that the Midlands is enjoying. As here come Birmingham out on the far side, immediately on the attack, as Jota has a run at Ashley Cole. Last touch comes off the former England man, and that should be a corner kick for Birmingham City. And will we repeat the pattern of the first half, with Birmingham striking very early on from a corner kick? Don't think we've had any changes to tell you about at half time. Certainly didn't see any alterations being made just before the second half got underway. So it's as you in terms of the two starting lineups. I'll just see out this corner kick and then run you through the lineups as Jota takes that corner in towards the near post. Header comes in from Juktovic, and it's over the crossbar. In the end, he did well to get to the cross towards the near post, but couldn't get his header on target. Yet again, they look susceptible from set pieces, Derby. Yeah,
Birmingham must be so confident going into corners every single time that they've whipped one in. They've won the first ball, and it's just too easy for them to do that. Even then, Juktovic against Keogh isn't able to get in front of him, and Juktovic has an effort at goal that could have really gone anywhere.
Yeah, just to let you know that Craig Bryson, according to the stats that we've got, was booked just before half time for Derby County, so that was a late yellow card right at the end of the first half, as Aston Villa have opened the scoring away at Bolton this afternoon. Villa looking for a 9th straight win in the Championship, which would equal a club record. Birmingham fans won't be happy to hear they are in front in that game at the University of Bolton Stadium, as Derby are playing their way out from the back. Ball forwards into the feet of Wilson. He goes down but gets the ball away to Waghorn before he does it. Then Waghorn gives away a free kick. A hefty challenge on Mahoma, and it's going to be a yellow card for Waghorn, who then throws the ball away as well, making it clear he wasn't happy with referee Simon Hooper's decision.
Yeah, it was one of those that Waghorn's touch has just slightly got away from him. I think it's flicked off his toes, and then Magoma comes in, and Waghorn's thinking, I really shouldn't have lost that one. He's flown straight in there. It's one of those, the foot was showing upwards, the studs were there. It didn't fully connect with him, but he did trip him down, and you can understand why the referee has given a yellow.
Yeah, I can certainly sympathise with the referee there. Wasn't a particularly pretty tackle. Ball out on the far side, and just the little bit of shade that's covering the pitch on the far side at St Andrews today. We're bringing you independent off-tube studio commentary coverage. 2-2 at the resumption of the second half. Really good first half. Not too many more chances other than the ones that went in to the back of the net to speak of, as Pedersen has to clear the ball away. Comes towards Lawrence, he nods it down. Mount then picks it up and then spreads the ball out to the right hand side, where it's collected by Wilson. Back to Bogle. Pedersen steps in to win that back, and Birmingham might be on for the counter attack here. Across the halfway line they come with Juktovic. He's looking to have a run at Keogh, to the bigger lads on the pitch, going stride for stride. Eventually Keogh blocked his attempted cross. Derby will have it back. Wilson could have carried it forward then, but instead turned back to his own goal, gave it to Keogh, and then jogged off upfield. Strange choice from the Wales international. As Keogh has it again. He's going to look to play it long. It's fairly aimless, but then it's won back well in midfield by Bryson. Lost quickly though as Jota plays that one through. Maybe a chance for Adams. Takes it in stride. Adams onto his right foot. Gets a shot away. Good block comes in from Cole in the end. Timed that very well. Adams just couldn't get the ball out of his stride before getting his shot away though.
Yeah, the ball just needed a little bit more pace to go out in front of him. I have to say, it looked to me on first glance as if he was offside, but I think Richard Keogh on the near side may have played him on. Cole eventually in there with a good tackle, but once again it just shows Derby's frailty. You mentioned it with Wilson. Could have strode into midfield, gone forward, then they end up launching a long ball forward and then lose it instantly.
Yeah, questionable decisions at times from Derby players. Don't understand what the thinking was there. As Jota takes the corner kick. Not a bad one towards a far post free header again, and it's cleared in front of the goalkeeper. What are Derby doing from set pieces? They're not marking anybody, it feels like, because Birmingham are getting their heads at every high ball into the penalty area. Juktovic, no, in fact it was Morrison again at the far post who got that one. But how can they not have realised who the danger men are in this Birmingham team?
Yeah, it's really, really poor set-piece defending. It almost gets worse for Derby, the fact that Birmingham keep getting the first head to it, and it's almost, you could make a case for Birmingham literally just running the ball down the wings, kicking it off the fullback and winning the corner every time.
Yeah.
You honestly could, because if they rack up 20 corners in this game, they could get 4, 5, 6 goals. They honestly could. It's that dominant from set-pieces.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it, that they just cannot figure out. You've got to mark up Juktovic and Morrison to start with. Just letting them run free is silly from Derby. Should be more experienced at the back, particularly with Richard Keogh in there. He's got plenty of experience. The Republic of Ireland international. As Derby have won a free kick in the centre circle, they play it to Keogh. Forward it goes. And backwards quickly to Moray, then plays another long ball over the top out towards the far side where it's collected this time by Lawrence. Lawrence will get a high hanging cross in. It will stay in play. No, not quite. Just drifts out of play and goes behind for a goal kick. And certainly Gary Monk's side will look at this as an opportunity to pick up that win, which will pretty much confirm their championship status for another season. It's certainly there to be won for Birmingham today. As ball played out long from Camp, looking for Juktovic. He's beaten in the air this time. Jota might get there up against Cole, who I said earlier probably will leave Derby at the end of the season, but might decide to stick around, stick with his old Chelsea teammate Lampard. Ball played forward by Derby, but Dean is across to clear it. Header back into the Birmingham half of the field, collected by Davis. It's agricultural at the minute with long boots from one end of the field to the other, as Bogle has some defending to do inside the box, having his arm pulled. It was cool defending by Bogle. Mahoma giving away the free kick. He's the only one that looks, well, Ashley Cole's shown a few flashes of it, but looks composed, doesn't he, Bogle, whenever he's under pressure? Yeah,
Bogle's done extremely well. That's why Magoma really hasn't seen too much of it on this near side, and it's all been through Jota on the other side that's tried to get past Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole being doing okay, and that's where they've won the corners really. When they've gone wide, the defenders have been doing alright. They've stopped the crosses going in, and in stopping the crosses coming in, they've given away corners, and that's where the danger has come from.
Yeah, it's Bogle was going to take the throw out on the right hand side. Derby have made rapid progress down the right hand side, but lose possession from the throw, and then it's cleared by Birmingham into Derby's half of the field. And here's Tamori, who's highly thought of at Chelsea if reports are to be believed. Another one along with Mount, who might get their chance at Chelsea next season. Excuse me, as the ball is back with Cole, and down the line it goes, looking for Lawrence, who plays it first time over the top. Cleared away by Birmingham. Ball is not spending a great deal of time on the floor at the minute, as it's nodded towards Waghorn again. He does well to hold off one defender, then plays it back, and then it's chipped over the top. Dean will come across, should tidy up, and he does, the former Brentford man. Cleared downfield, collected by Cole again. And it's pretty scrappy at the start of the second half from both teams.
Yeah, once again, it's not. There's not a lot of quality in the midfield. There's been maybe less mistakes in the second half, and that's probably because the two sides are not really going for the risky pass and not trying to fizz it around in the middle, and they're just hitting it long instead. And yes, as you said, it's just a bit stop-start. There's no real fluency to the second half because of all the long balls.
early stages of the second half at St Andrews, where it is Birmingham 2, Derby 2, and not a great deal to shout about for the most part, although Derby have yet again failed to defend a couple of set pieces and allowed Birmingham to get their head to the ball. One from Juktovic, which he headed over the bar, and another from Morrison, which was blocked inside the penalty area. They still continue to struggle to pick up their markers from set pieces, but going forward, Derby have offered precious little really, and it remains Birmingham 2, Derby 2.
Derby just in their own half, in control of the ball with Tamori. Looks forward, no option, gives it square towards his centre-back partner in Richard Keogh. Keogh then gives it short towards Bradley Johnson. It's a really poor ball once again. Johnson has to slide to get it. Waghorn can't come back and win it, so Magoma is there eventually to win it, but he gives it away, and then it's given away once again, and running down the left-hand side is Davis. Knocks it down the line towards Magoma. Magoma runs in front of Keogh, asking for a penalty, saying he got tripped, but he looked as if he went down a little too easily there for my liking. Keogh wasn't trying to make a tackle at any point, he just run in front of him, did Magoma, but once again won by Birmingham. Knocked down the line by Yotta on the far side. Goes down the right hand side, wants to come back on that favoured left and looking to put a cross in, but it's all Birmingham at the minute.
Yeah, Yotta having it on the far side. In agreement with you, Matt, I didn't think it was a penalty, as ball is played in towards a far post, headed across the face of goal. Again, Juktovic picking up a good area, completely unmarked to the back post, and this time Derby get their lines cleared, as Juktovic then gives away a free kick. Might actually be a yellow card for the former Burnley man, which seems a little bit harsh. It was a foul, but yellow card seems a bit excessive. But he's going to go into the book.
It's when referees look at counter-attacks, don't they? As soon as a counter-attack's on and someone stops it, even though it was well inside the Derby half, they are very inclined to give away free kicks and yellow cards. Yeah,
he knew what he was doing, but as you say, he's inside his own half when he tries to make the break. As we're going to get a look at the penalty shout for Matt Goma now from a replay. I don't think there's a lot in that. He gets his body in front of Keogh. It feels a bit of contact.
There is a tiny bit of contact, just a little bit of tangling of legs really, but it looks to me as if Magoma's almost like he's running so fast and so hard to try and get there. He's almost put himself off balance, and he's kind of squatting really, trying to stay up. It's one of those, he's already kind of going down. Not saying he's not dived or anything, but his body weight is already going down.
Yeah, he's struggling to stay up, isn't he? Doesn't need much to go over. As the ball is played out to the far side for Lawrence of Derby County. 2-2 between Birmingham and Derby. Played out to Bogle now up against Mahoma, but he does well this occasion, the Birmingham winger, to put the foot in, and it goes out of play for a throw-in. Aston Villa have doubled their lead against Bolton. They lead by 2-0 now. And again, many expected them to come out on top in. There's a ball back inside the Derby half of the field. Derby looking to end this poor run of form away from home. And they do have a decent record actually against Birmingham City. Hoping to improve on that today. Beat them 3-1 in the reverse fixture earlier on in the season. As Mount has given away the free kick on this occasion to Birmingham. It's not quite the second half that we'd hoped for so far. Quiet, really.
You mentioned that good form against Birmingham, and they've only lost 1 in 11 league games, Derby County, against Birmingham City. So the stats back you up there, Chris.
Yeah, I couldn't quite remember the numbers, but yeah.
They're unbeaten in 5 visits to Birmingham as well.
So there you go. Happy hunting ground for Derby for the most part, but been second best for much of the afternoon today as the ball is played into the Derby box, cleared away, and it will be a corner kick. And having failed to defend so many corners, I bet they must be nervous now, Derby, every time the ball goes out for a corner.
It's one of those where you think they've had so many corners, you've had so much practice, you can finally make it stick, but it's almost as if Birmingham play completely different every single corner and just throw them off the stride. And yeah, you would be worried with all these big men coming up.
Juktovic's movement has been good as well. So here comes the corner kick taken by Yotta. Free header for Juktovic again. It's hit the post. Go back out. Going to be turned into the back of the net. Oh, Dean has eventually had it turned behind for a corner. Derby are convinced there should have been a free kick in there, but Juktovic has hit the post. and it's still 2-2.
Exactly the same corner every single time. Jota whips it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box on the far side, and once again coming onto it is Jutkovic, and this time he hits the post. He's free every single time, and Derby are just not learning from this.
I cannot believe they have not learned to pick him up. Now, there might have been a foul on the edge of the penalty area, but we haven't got a replay of that. We're looking at Derby's appeals for a foul. Well, where's the foul come into it? I'm not quite sure, as Jutkovic's header comes crashing back off the post, and then Roos tries to get there. Oh, there's a handball in there from Jutkovic, but it's taken us a second replay to have a look at it. And so I think eventually the free kick went the way of Derby. And so here come Derby at the other end now. Bryson can't quite feed that through for Waghorn. Might break for Lawrence. He's beaten to the ball. Goes back to Cole again. Derby's goals lived a charmed life though from set pieces. Jutkovic very unlucky not to steer that into the back of the net. More bad news for Derby is that Hull have turned it around against West Brom. They now lead by 2-1 at the Hawthorns. And Hull are, as we said before, in with a shout of sneaking into the playoffs if they can keep winning. So look at the live standings, see where that leaves things, but Hull would close to within a point of Derby in the table. Derby would remain 3 points outside the playoff spots if scores stay as they are. At the minute, I think they'd be lucky to take a point from St Andrews the way it's going.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of chances that Birmingham have had from corners is just quite frankly ridiculous, and Derby, to be fair, haven't created too many chances of their own as once again Birmingham come forward.
Ball over the top for Adams, top scorer for Birmingham. Can he get himself involved as well to cut it back edge of the box? Now into Maghoma. Here's a shot from Jota. That's blocked inside the penalty area, and Roos is able to collect it before it goes out of play for a corner kick. That was good build-up play again by Birmingham City. Adams, for somebody so young, always seems to make the right decision.
Yep, and I mean, he fizzed it across the edge of the box to Maghoma, and they were outnumbered there eventually with Birmingham because Derby got men back, but every single time, both the pass from Adams to Maghoma and Maghoma to Jota, they were able to find the man and eventually able to get a shot off at goal. And it's Derby they feeling to themselves, we need to try and get a winner here, and every single time they do that, Adams is on the edge of the line of the defence and willing to run.
Yep, he's been excellent so far, Adams, when he has got the ball. But as we've already mentioned, it's been more about what Birmingham have offered as an aerial team. It was something that they picked out ahead of kick-off, particularly in the local papers in Derby, that this is a team of giants, if you will. Some big lads in this side, and they've used that to their advantage today as Pedersen puts the ball out of play for a throw-in on the right-hand side, which will be taken by Bogle. Not too many options. He shields his eyes from the sun. Throws it infield now, looking for Mount. Mount is battling for it, but eventually it's cleared away by Birmingham. And then Jutkovic heads that one forward, looking for Adams. Doesn't quite see his header arrive where he intended it to. And then eventually it's played off Cole and out of play for a throw-in. West Brom have equalised against Hull 2-2 in that game at the Hawthorns. So entertaining match, not a million miles away from Birmingham City.
3 games sat at 2-2 as they stand.
Yeah, so plenty of entertainment in the Championship today. Start of the busy Easter period because both these sides are playing again on Monday. Derby have got QPR, I believe, at home as the ball goes out of play for another throw-in. And again, Frank Lampard talked about it at half-time. Looks more and more concerned with the way this team, the way the performance is going. Might start looking to his bench before too long. I think it's more the system though. They haven't got enough men in midfield to make things happen for Waghorn and Wilson ahead of them and Lawrence.
18 minutes into this second half, or almost 20, and Derby have been by far the second best team in the second. Towards the end of the first half, they were the team really that were having more of the possession and starting to build things up, but Birmingham have completely turned it on its head, and we've still not seen anything really of Wilson. It's whether a case of, do you take off your top scorer, or do you move his position slightly and bring him into midfield and hope that plugs the gap?
Yeah, need to do something, don't they? Just needs a little bit of freshening up, as Birmingham have won a free kick in a good position as well, so another chance to test Derby from a set piece. Maghoma and Jota are over it. I imagine it will be Jota. His set pieces have been pretty good so far today. It is the Spaniard who drifts that one in towards the far post again. It's headed down inside the box by Pedersen. This time Roos is happily able just to gather it, but yet again they've won the ball inside the penalty area of Birmingham City, as it's with Derby, played down the line on the far side, but that goes out of play for a throw-in, and it will be a throw for Derby County. As I can tell you, Wigan are leading now at Leeds United, down to 10 men, Wigan, but they lead by 2-1, and so the promotion picture takes another twist, with Norwich in action later on against Sheffield Wednesday. It's a game you can hear on this service as the ball goes out of play for a throw-in. In our game, Juktovic has been a menace for Derby County. There's a ball down the line. Dean has to do some defending and does it well to shield it out of play for a goal kick. And Waghorn cuts a frustrated figure. For Gary Monk, it's a case of whether his team can get over the line, get their noses back in front again today. Yeah,
you mentioned Waghorn. He's just battled for scraps all day today, and it's one of them things. Battling for scraps is what Birmingham have been better at today. And if they keep creating chances like they're having this opening 20 minutes of the second half, and keep creating corners and troubling Derby's defence, then you can see them winning this. And Derby, they've defended really well of Birmingham, because Derby haven't created anything in the second half.
No, so here come Birmingham again, allowed to turn is Adams, and then it's Yotta who back heels it. Thinks that Adams has continued his run, but he didn't. He stood watching, and eventually Derby able to clear their lines, but it's going to come back at them with Yotta again. Turns away from his man over on the far side, and then goes past Cole, and he's taken out, and that will be a free kick and probably a yellow card. He doesn't think it should be a yellow. I think the referee has been a bit happy in terms of getting out the cards, and so Ashley Cole, the latest name into the book, but free kick in another good position, and Yotta is starting to get the better of things down that far side.
Yep, absolutely. And he's just flicked it inside Cole there and tried to run on the outside. Cole has spun at the same time and tried to run after it, but Yotta with a bit more pace has just tried to run around him and stumbled over the trail foot. Yeah, 5 yellow cards so far in this game, 3 to Derby.
Yeah, the Ashley Cole maybe 10 years ago would have kept up with Yotta, I think, but slightly slower now. He comes towards the end of his career. Yotta will take the free kick. Well, it could be Maghoma, but it is going to be Yotta. It's a deep one towards a far post, and it's headed away for a corner kick in the end. Bradley Johnson, whose name we've hardly mentioned, getting up to nod it behind for a corner. So another set piece for Birmingham.
I think that set piece, it wasn't a terrible ball. It still had a chance of finding the man at the far post, but I think that one was the one with the least quality. It was slightly overhit, that one, so they'll try to rectify this at the corner.
Yeah, as here comes the corner. Maghoma plays that one in towards the near post. It's drifted across the face of goal and eventually turbined. I think it's going to be another corner kick. It got a touch off a Blues man, and it could have gone anywhere in the end. The slice clearance, though, goes behind for another corner.
It's fizzed towards the front post this time. A man flicks it on towards the back, and luckily it just deflects anywhere for Derby County. I'm not too sure who. Was it Gardner? I think it was. And then was it Waghorn?
Yeah,
it takes back from the front.
So another corner for Birmingham City. They just can't defend set pieces, Derby. Absolutely terrified every time the ball's played in. Maghoma plays that one in towards a far post. Free header again at the back post, but this time the referee's whistle's gone. So it will be a free kick. Morrison judged to have wrestled Keogh to the ground. Just for a minute, it was another nervy moment for Frank Lampard's side.
Header was finding that far corner as well, and I think Mason Mount was stood on it and was able to catch the ball because the whistle had already gone, but had the whistle not gone, it would have been at his chest and a bit of an awkward position to clear.
Still Birmingham 2, Derby 2, and it's still Blues who are creating the better opportunities. Lukas Juktovic has come very close to grabbing his second of the afternoon. Birmingham's third with a header off the post from a corner kick. Nearly all of Birmingham's chances are coming from set-piece situations, and on this occasion Juktovic was unmarked as his diving header hit the post from a corner. Birmingham City have caused Derby all sorts of problems, as I say, from free kicks and corners, whilst at the other end Derby have offered precious little. Martin Waghorn struggling to get into the game in this second period, and it remains 2-2.
Once again a throw-in one by Birmingham on the near side. Thrown along by Pedersen, flicked on by Juktovic. Adam goes down in the box, but the ball falls back towards Jutkiewicz. He just holds it up. Wilson trying to get back and battle against him, and the big man for the Blues is able to win a throw-in to try and throw this one into the box, you would have thought, although Maguma looks like he will go short. It's now with Pedersen to take.
Yeah, Pedersen looks like he's going to wind up a long throw. Not seen this so far, but you can understand why they might try it, given success they've had from aerial battles. In fact, he goes short towards Magoma, who can't quite bring the ball under his spell, and then it's cleared away by Derby up towards Waghorn. But he's very deep inside his own half when he collects it, and eventually has to go back towards his own goal. And there again, just can't get anything going as we've gone past the midway point in the second half. Hand over to Matt. What remains of the game?
Cheers, Chris. Once again, Waghorn just having to fight for everything he gets, and he's having to come onto the wrong side of the halfway line to receive everything. Derby happy to control the ball. For all they've been dominated in the second half, it's still 2-2. Still in with a chance of winning this game should they string something together. Keogh square across the back to Mori. Looks forward, tries to fizz it through towards Mount, but won and intercepted well by Jota. Lifted ball attempted by Davis over to the right hand side, then hoisted long. It fell to the feet of I think it was Gary Gardner looking for the man on the far side, but the chance had already gone to try and twitch that one, and no surprise Derby are making changes.
Yeah, and as you say, expected these to come perhaps a little bit earlier, but one of them is Mason Bennett, I think, as Waghorn's going to go off.
I think the other one was Jack Marriott as well.
Yeah.
So they're going for this one. Derby County, and no surprise really. So it will be Jack Marriott to come on for Harry Wilson. Yep, we've said it a number of times today. We've not seen anything of him. No,
been very quiet, hasn't he, so far? And you can understand why Bennett has come onto the field of play. But same system, though, isn't it? And, still not convinced that it was the right one for Derby up against Birmingham this afternoon.
Yep. Although anything can happen in football, so you never know. It could swing either way with these changes. Just some fresh legs to help Waghorn running into the channels, maybe. And that's maybe what they're looking for. As the ball goes down the line, down the right hand side, Marriott tries to hold it up. Then it goes into the feet of the substitute Bennett, but he's not able to keep the ball in play. And it does go out for a goal kick for the home side. Well, surely look to go long once again up towards Jutkiewicz and Adams. The Derby fans not looking too impressed with their team's outing today. Most of them clad in the white kit, of course. No need for a jumper or a coat today. Sunny weather in Birmingham. Knocked forward now up towards Marriott, but he's not able to get there. It's headed easily away. Then Johnson wins the return header. Bennett isn't able to get there before Pedersen. Pedersen just seeing the ball out for a throw-in. To go along down this side. He does go along up towards Jutkiewicz. He can't win it. It's headed out by Johnson, then flicked down in the midfield by Mount, and eventually a free kick is given for a foul against Bryson, but Mount in there was complaining, saying why not play on when the ball had already gone up towards Jack Marriott.
Yeah, and it doesn't help Derby, I don't think, to have the game being stop-start as much as it is, and more suited for Birmingham, given that they feed off these set-piece situations, as Lampard is not happy now about Homer winning a free kick, expressing his frustration. Things just getting on top of Lampard at the minute, you feel, right now. He's made those changes, though, so he'll hope that his team can get more of a foothold in this game.
The Birmingham goalkeeper Lee Camp comes up from the back to take this free kick, and no surprises, everyone goes up from the back. Morrison, Dean, Pedersen, as well as the front two, knocked towards the far end of the edge of the penalty area. Chester down, but no one can pick that one up for Birmingham. Marriott trying to fight for the second ball. Just a shoulder-to-shoulder challenge between him and Colin, as the ball then does go all the way to Lee Camp once again. He knocks it long up towards Adams this time, headed out by Tamori. Battle in midfield. Mount can't win it. Can Jutkiewicz take it down? He can't, as once again it's not long, and this is suiting Birmingham. Every single time the ball falls to Derby, they're just knocking it long as well. They're trying to flick it up towards Marriott.
Yeah, they just haven't got the height in the team to really make that sort of system work. And as you say, it is suiting them, but now they've got it on the deck and a chance to move through the gears in a good area.
Knocked down the line for Mount, puts the ball into the box. It's one in the air by Bryson, but he can't get enough on it. Picked up the far post by Bennett. Bennett up 1-on-1 against Pedersen, lifts it towards the far post, then headed out safely by Colin, but finally a chance and something for the Derby fans to cheer about.
Yeah, they haven't had anything to get excited about behind that goal that they're attacking in the second period, but that was a good cross in from Mount, wasn't it? And it just skimmed off the head of Marriott as they take the corner.
In towards Mount, into the box, and it's spilled by Camp. Can Mount get there again? No, he can't, as Camp gets theirs. But there's claims for a penalty as Bryson goes down. All the Derby players scream to the referee as Camp then throws it quickly down the left-hand side. It's picked up by Magoma. He's 1-on-1 with Keogh. Surely he's got the beat of him for pace, but Keogh does well. He cuts inside the box, just goes outside now, and then it's a poor touch, really, as Tamori wins that one. But another shout for a penalty from the away side. Nothing given again as it's knocked down the line the right hand side towards Bennett. Bennett up 1-on-1, goes down the line against Pedersen, trying to cross the ball, but Pedersen stands up against that one well, and I think a corner may have been given, but suddenly these substitutions, particularly Bennett, started to make things happen.
Yeah, pretty immediate impact. I want to see a replay of that penalty shout, because for me I think they might have had a case here, Derby. Let's have another look at it. Oh, he's being pulled back. That should be a penalty. And the referee's got a good angle on it as well. Gary Gardner who's got a hold of the arm of Bryson. That should have been a penalty kick, and Simon Hooper has missed that one.
Absolutely. Bryson is running towards the ball, and he's got his arm behind him, and Gary Gardner is pulling him by the wrist and just tugs him backwards, stops him running, but another chance for Derby from the corner. Mount lifts it high into the box towards the far post, headed by Keogh, but he can't get enough on it. Will he be able to keep it in? He does. He stops it going for a goal kick and looks down the line and finds a supporting man. It's down the left hand side as it's a good tackle in the end by the retreating Shea Adams. It goes out for a Derby throw-in though. More pressure for the Rams as the throw-in is now given to the duty of Ashley Cole. Looking for a man just inside the box, and just dropping off is Mount. Mount holds off a couple of defenders, but running away from it is Jota. Now he wins the ball back, and a sliding challenge in there quickly from Tamori to stop the counter-attack. Lifted forward, poorly jumped in the air there by another Derby man, and they can't make the ball stick as it's knocked up into midfield. Magoma can't win that one in midfield. Now Derby have the ball on the ground once again, and it's coming forward, and it's flicked through on goal, and almost through on goal. There was the number 17 Bogle with a great run from right back, but Lee Camp rushes out well to win it.
Still Birmingham 2, Derby 2, but Derby have made a couple of changes, and that has certainly been to the benefit of the Rams, who'd offered precious little in the second half until they brought on Bennett and Marriott, and they should have had a penalty kick as well. Pulled down inside the box was Bryson as he tried to get on the end of a shot which had been spilled by Camp. Gary Gardner was the guilty man. Simon Hooper, the referee, had a good angle but didn't award the penalty, and Derby can field hard done by. At the other end, well, Birmingham's best chance of the second half, Lucas Juktovic's header off the post, but since those changes, Derby have looked the better team. Still 2-2 though.
On the ball at the back now for Derby's Cole. He gives it inside to Tamori. Keogh looking to go long this time, knocks it down the right hand side up towards Bennett. It was more of an aerial threat, more of a stronger player than Harry Wilson, but it's held up by Bryson. His ball can't find the on-running Jaden Bogle. Bennett then trying to battle for the ball, and is a Birmingham man who's hit the deck here. I think it may have maybe even Jutkovic, who has dropped back to try and battle against Bennett. Looks like he's in some pain as the referee has stopped the play here. Jutkovic has stayed down now. He tried to get back up. It looks to me as if he's holding the groin, and that in the battle with Bennett may have just pulled that one there.
Yeah, it looked like he was just struggling to get back to his feet, as you say, and so he's going to need a bit of treatment. He's flat on his back at the minute, and a chance for the players to finally have a breather. Can't quite see where he got himself hurt, but
he throws his left leg up in the air saying he's hurt, and then pushes himself onto the pitch to try and stop the play.
It's not the silliest thing to do, is it, from him, just to slow the pace of the game down, interrupt the flow that Derby have been building. They don't have loads of options on the bench, do they, Birmingham? That's been the problem for most of the season, as it's quite a small squad that they've had to work with. And you're looking at potential players to come on. Isaac Vassell is the only real attacking or striking option they've got to bring onto the field of play, and it is Vassell who's going to come on possibly for Juktovic, who's had a really good impact on today's game, but perhaps they feel like they need fresh legs up front for what remains of it.
I think it's potentially a bit of a cramp maybe in the left calf for Juktovic. He's been stretched out as he's helped to his feet by the medical staff as the referee comes over. He will most probably walk off the field as his regulation. He then taps the hand of Magoma, and potentially he will be the substitution as he then slowly gets into a jog, slaps the hand of Vassell, and Vassell does come on now for Juktovic. So Isaac Vassell coming on for the first goal scorer of today. He gets a round of applause and plenty of handshakes from his teammates on the sidelines, and see what Vassell can do, because he's also an aerial threat and a big physical presence up front for Birmingham.
Yeah, Gary Monk has got a type of play he likes, doesn't he? And it's certainly a big physical type, particularly up front. We've seen Shea Adams bully a couple of Derby defenders at times today, and Isaac Vassell is going to be similar. He's had to work his way back from a serious knee injury. Birmingham fans not seen a great deal of him this season, as Bennett got caught by a high foot there. But yeah, Vassell on. Interested to see what he can do now entering the final 10 minutes. I think a draw doesn't really suit either team, particularly Derby pushing for the playoffs.
Absolutely, as Gary Monk's on the sideline looking and chatting to his team on the side, just to try and work out how to switch things around, because the momentum has gone back to Derby since Derby's substitutions. The long ball goes forward down the right hand side for Birmingham, but it just strays out of play. Jota's header down the line came after the ball did go out for a throw-in, so a Derby throw on the far side. It'll be Ashley Cole to take this one. Looks down the line up towards Bennett, but it's cleared by Birmingham. Headed on by Vassell up towards Adams, but it's headed away by Derby. Then headed again in midfield, this time by Gary Gardner, and Vassell's battling for it under with Keogh. No foul given there as Vassell hit the deck. It's then knocked long up towards Bennett. Now he looks to chest it down towards, I think it was Craig Bryson, but the ball doesn't find him, and eventually it goes to Davis, who's then fouled by Bennett, just tugging on the back of the Birmingham City man. So a free kick inside the Derby half for Birmingham. Another chance for them to put some players up there, cause some more set piece problems. This one from a nice attacking position. It's not the greatest of angles to cause something. Keogh's trying to play the offside trap as it's knocked forward towards the edge of the box. It's a poor set piece really, as Derby look to go on the counter attack. It's hit short and then hit long up for Bryson to try and chase. He's going down the left hand side. He's no chance he's going to be able to get to that one, and Bryson, if I was him, I'd be pretty miffed there. Sorry, no, it was Marriott, wasn't it? It'd be pretty miffed that the ball wasn't hit with some more accuracy. It was just pretty much lumped up there for him to chase.
I think he's quickly finding out what Waghorn found out, and that's the service up to him isn't great this afternoon. And there again, that ball, as you say, wasn't played anywhere near Marriott in a situation he could work with, and it's just been disappointing afternoon for Derby going forward. Scored so many goals. They got 2 goals today, but they've really struggled to create chances from open play for the most part this afternoon. Opportunistic, wasn't it, for Waghorn's goal, and then a set piece for Keogh's.
Absolutely. Tamori wins the ball high though and goes forward, takes a strike at goal, and that's a centre-back shot as it hits Rose Ed in the top right-hand corner.
He really fancies himself as a ball player, doesn't he, Tamori? He's seen him play a couple of long raking passes out from the back, not always where they've intended to go, and there, that shot was poor from Tamori. Still learning the game, and Chelsea will be happy he's making all his mistakes in a Derby shirt, but the Derby fans, that's a frustrating sight for them.
Absolutely, as Rotherham have scored a 3rd goal away from home at Swansea. That one now stands 4-3 to the Swans. Long ball up from Birmingham here at St Andrews, headed out by Cole, then knocked long by Lawrence. Lawrence wins a second header as it is headed out, then Mount wins a header. And there's a head tennis once again in midfield. It's a really poor ball across the midfield though by Lawrence, and now Davis can try and come forward, but that's a poor ball, but it's not intercepted by Bogle. The one mistake he's made so far today. It's a chance for Magoma to get inside the box. He's cut back on his right foot, goes inside, takes a strike at goal, deflected by Keogh and just kept in play by Kale Roos, but for the first time today, Bogle's made a mistake and it almost paid.
Yeah, Mahoma getting away from him there, as you say, just fails to cut that ball out, bounce the ball doing him, and there Roos, well, the ball's going wide anyway, so he didn't have too much to worry about in the end, but it was a good chance for Birmingham City. Wonder whether Mahoma perhaps could have set up a teammate rather than going for goal himself, as David Nugent's going to come on, veteran striker is going to come on to replace Tom Lawrence, so a complete change of the front line for Derby over the course of the game.
Yep, no surprise that they're going for this one, and I have to say, just thinking about it, that Kel Roos save, it was going wide as you say, but it was off the feet of a Derby man, so he stopped a corner kick.
True, that's true,
and
yeah.
Birmingham have been ever so good from corner kicks so far, but now Derby trying to go forward, 2 strikers on, and Bennett also very useful in attacking areas, now with Marriott across the midfield. Now on the left hand side with Mason Mount, who looks to have taken the left wing position. Now Tom Lawrence has come off after he switched over there, but it's a really poor ball by Mount and goes straight out of play, and a bit of frustration from Frank Lampard.
Yeah, not a happy man at the minute, been like a caged tiger kind of patrolling his technical area, sort of scuffs the ground with his boot, with his foot, and just not enjoying his day out. Yeah, he could do with some boots, couldn't he? He'd be desperate to get back out there. That's what they say about top level players when they become managers, is the frustration of having to watch players who aren't as good as you make mistakes you probably wouldn't have made yourself, and I could see there's a lot of frustration pent up in Lampard. Yeah,
and that's why you do often see managers come from positions where they weren't the best footballers in the world. They were good at their time, but they weren't the best, and they can appreciate how much the effort is being put in, as Frank Lampard can, but it's just frustration for not seeing players be able to do stuff at the quality that he was able to do. But it's a throw-in for Derby on the near side. Nugent will take it, throws it down the line to an on-running man. It's then held up and will be laid off now in towards Bryson, who's made a run forward. He looks to put a right foot across in, it's deflected, comes towards the edge of the box. There's a battle in there, but by Nugent, headed in there, then headed out by Birmingham man, and then Vassell just misses a header. He would have been able to find Magoma. It's knocked long, so a really aimless not long really from Derby. Then headed forward, Mount on the edge of the box in towards Nugent, tries to flick it around the corner for Marriott. Marriott had hands on him as he couldn't get there. Ball cleared, half cleared from Birmingham. Then Magoma tries to fully clear it. Bryson running forward, touches the ball down. He's got past a couple of men. He's inside the box, tries to cross, but Pedersen puts a sliding tackle in there. And this game is so scrappy.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And Derby are finishing the stronger, though. Credit to them. I don't think it was a penalty. Marriott was just a little bit weak as he tried to turn away from his man. But Derby pushing hard now for what would be the winner. Feel like Birmingham running out of steam a little bit. I'm surprised we haven't seen another change in midfield potentially from Gary Monk.
Wouldn't it be ironic if Derby could score from a corner, as it's Mount that puts it in. It's headed, it's gone towards the back post. Keogh will pick that one up. He stopped it going for either another corner or a goal kick. It goes now towards Ashley Cole, fakes the shot at the cross, then goes to Keogh once again. His cross is blocked. The centre back still finds himself on that left wing, looks to put another cross in. And that's maybe why he doesn't play there, as it's gone up, it's fallen to the feet of a Tamori. He takes a striker goal, then takes a header from the deflection and the save, and somehow the ball stays out of the Birmingham net here at St Andrews. But Derby will come again as Bogle lifts it towards the far post. Will it be kept in by Mount? It won't. But somehow Lee Camp has brought some heroics there for the save from the original volley, and then I don't really know what happened from the second header.
No, not sure how. It didn't end up in the back of the net. Tamore, under a bit of pressure, can't perhaps get as much contact or angle on it as he'd like. And then on the follow-up, just getting another look at it here, I mean, Camp reacts quickly to sort of spill it back up into the air, and Tamore has jumped too early, I think, in the end, and doesn't get any power on the header, and eventually they scramble it away. But was that the chance for Derby to get their noses in front?
And Tamori looks now as if he's in a lot of pain. He may have overstretched his hamstring, maybe part of the fact that he maybe jumped a bit too early, overstretched, and he's hobbling back now. In fact, Lampard's already made all three of his substitutions, and he's now gone down on the floor. Maybe a possible cause for cramp once again. Maybe the fact that it's so warm today, that's the amount of sweat that's going out and losing water, that might have affected all the players. Yeah,
it's become warm all of a sudden, hasn't it? But it's been cold for the last couple of weeks, and as you say, anybody who's done any kind of exercise will know that when it goes from warm or hot to cold weather to warm weather, it becomes a lot harder to run around. At least I've found that in my experience, is because your muscles are fatiguing a lot quicker than you used to.
And you're losing so much water that they tense up and need more. You've seen a lot of water bottles being thrown about today. Frank Lampard's done enough sweating for his whole team on the sideline.
Yeah.
Surprised we can't see through that nice white shirt of his.
That's the second one he's had on, I reckon. They changed at half time.
It wouldn't surprise me at all, as the goal kick now comes long from Camp, but it's headed out of play by Isaac Vassell, and tomorrow he'll have to stay on the field for these last few moments. He'll hope that all the action's at the other side, although I'd be surprised if when Birmingham get the ball they don't try and knock it up to him and try and put the likes of Shea Adams and Vassell on him, and maybe a high boot in midfield there from Davis, as I think it was it Bryson or was it someone else going in for the header? I think it was Marriott actually that went in for sort of a header at what would have been head height for him but chest height for Davis. And Davis puts his foot up, and another chance for Derby from a free kick.
They're having to hang on now for this point, aren't they? Birmingham City having looked the better up until about the 70-minute mark when Derby made those changes, and it's just all gone wrong for Gary Monk's side in this second period. They've not been able to stay up with Derby since they made the alterations, and well, Derby I think will feel hard done by all of a sudden if they don't get a winner.
Will be Mason Mount to take this one. He lobs it up towards the far post. Tomori's going for that one, and there's a man that goes down inside the box. It was the number 20 shirt for Derby of Mason Bennett, but nothing going on that occasion. And Mount just chatting to Richard Keogh, saying it's not really where I wanted the ball to go.
No, he's not happy with that delivery. Is into the box on that occasion, and it's been that kind of afternoon for the most part for Derby. Final ball, getting into situations where they can put the ball into the box. Deliveries have not been good enough, and well, not many Derby fans heading for the exits, but a few have seen enough and head into the 90th minute. Looks like it's going to end 2 apiece.
Good news for Birmingham though, as QPR have gone 2-1 down. Oh no, sorry, the bad news, sorry, as QPR have pulled one back, at home against Blackburn, and that will worry the Birmingham fans if QPR can nick another one. As the board goes up for additional time. Do you know how many minutes?
5 minutes have added on time. So plenty of time. Plenty of time.
As Pedersen has a throw in on the near side. Looks to go short. Goes in towards Magoma. It's poor though, as Magoma can't get there. It's not long from Derby. And running onto this one will be Jack Marriott, who puts a shoulder into the number 28, the skipper of Birmingham City, Michael Morrison, who just clears the ball out of play. Throw into Derby. Bogle goes upfield to take this one, launches it long up towards Nugent. Nugent's header there goes into Magoma's path. Magoma then hooks it high into the air, headed back towards that area by Bradley Johnson, won by Bennett, then cleared away once again by Birmingham and Morrison. Keogh's able to win a header against Vassell, but Magoma steps in there really well, and it goes towards Shea Adams now. There's space on the right and in the left. It's a really nice reverse ball in towards Magoma, inside the box, cuts on his right foot looking to shoot, lays it off for Adams. Adams shoots, he's asking for handball. There was a head that went down towards the ball as well as the arm for Derby County. I think it may have been Ashley Cole, and the referee waves it away, and maybe Derby have escaped one there.
Yeah, it might have been that there was a handball in there. They were convinced when some of the Birmingham players. Shea Adams has got a yellow card now for stopping a potential counter-attack, but that was the moment for Birmingham. Chance to win the game. Let's have another look at it here. Can't quite tell whether it's Cole's body or his hand on that first glance that makes the block. Better look at it, it's his head. It's a good stop by Cole, yeah.
I mean, the goalkeeper was diving that way as well, but Shea Adams put some power on that. It looked as if it was going towards the corner. It's a brilliant header from Ashley Cole, and a good spot by the referee, Simon Hooper, as the ball goes long for Derby County, goes straight out for a Birmingham City corner, goal kick, and I'm sure the whole of St Andrews will have been shouting there for a penalty, although when they see the replays they'll agree with us and say brilliant from the ex-England international.
Saved his team there, didn't he, because he'd have backed Adams to hit the back of the net, given he's got 22 goals already to his name this season. That was a good opportunity. It's been a funny kind of game. It's had its low moments, scrappy moments, but plenty of entertainment in the sunshine as here come Birmingham once more.
Jota, good football in the middle, gives it out left to Magoma. Magoma one-on-one with Bogle, goes on his left foot, looks to put across it in, he eventually scuffs one in towards the front post, and Tomori, all he can do is stand the ball out for a corner, and we've not seen one of these for a while, but my money would be on Birmingham winning the first ball.
I'd expect them to win the first ball if the delivery is good enough. Got to get that right, and it has been for the most part, but I mean, if you're a Derby fan now, you'd be watching through your fingers given how they've defended these set pieces today.
Great chance for Birmingham City. On the near side, it is Magoma to take it, lifts it towards the far side. It's headed down off a Derby man. It's then flicked towards goal by Michael Morrison, and he's flicked it. It's come off the arm of Richard Keogh. It was within at least a foot or 2 feet, and that's probably why the referee's not given a pen.
Yeah, we saw something similar earlier, didn't we, where the ball was flicked up onto the arm of a player from close range. Let's get another look at it here. Oh, his arm is definitely up there, isn't it?
Why is his arm that high?
Yeah, it blocks the direction of the ball going towards goal. I think they've got an argument there, Birmingham.
It's another corner though for Birmingham City, this time the far side for Jota, puts it in, it's headed down, it's taken down by Shea Adams, takes a shot at goal and then he stabs at it a second time, but it's given away for a free kick, as I think it was Kel Roos who was able to get onto that with a combination of him and Bogle, and Shea Adams just dived in there, and that's why the free kick's been given for the second one.
Bogle's kind of limping away, he's in real pain, but as he rightly called it, they're going to win that first ball, and they do just that, and Adams goes straight through the back of Bogle. He's on a yellow card. Now he's not a good challenge, but the referee's going to let him get away with it. Good block again by Derby. I think by Mason Mount on this occasion to stop the shot from Adams alongside Bogle.
This time Vassell wins a free kick just inside the Birmingham City half of Bradley Johnson, and I would have thought that everyone will be going up from the back now for Birmingham City. Just over 30 seconds to go. Lee Camp will take this free kick. Sorry. I'm getting into the end of this game as Lee Camp comes forward for the free kick. The Birmingham fans are in full voice, looking to knock this one long. Lee Camp towards the left hand side, flicked forward in towards the feet of Adams, now with Magoma inside the box. He's got a few men in front of him, goes outside then in, he's looking for a man on the edge of the box, he finds one, then comes into the feet of Morrison, steered towards the far post, and there was a man coming in there. I think it was Vassell, but I think Kel Roos had done well to just cover that one off, and it goes out for a goal.
It's a horrible one for a goalkeeper, isn't it? Because you're waiting for somebody to get a touch on it, but then you've got to be wary of the fact that it could still drift in, that kind of cross-come shot. And as you say, the Derby goalkeeper did just about enough as Vassell launched himself at it, didn't get anywhere near it, and that is probably the last chance of the game.
Yeah, it was a good effort, good composure from the centre-back, but the goal kick is now taken from Kel Roos, and it has finished here at St Andrews. The 4 goals coming all in the first half. It's Birmingham City 2, Derby County 2.
All over at St Andrews, and it's finished Birmingham 2, Derby 2. Derby missing the chance to close the gap on the sides above them in the race for the playoff spots, and they were all over at St Andrews, and it finishes Birmingham 2, Derby 2. The Rams missing the opportunity to close the gap on the sides above them in the race for the playoffs, although they were thankful just to take a point at half-time. All the goals coming in the first half, Birmingham twice taking the lead through Juktovic and Morrison, but Waghorn and Keogh levelling it up. Going into the second half, Derby had their chances late on, Tamori forcing a good double save from Camp. Well, they should have had a